I think this was the first episode of Little Witch Academia that did not have its major conflict of the episode concluded within the episode. What I'm getting at is, this is the first episode to where the conflict starts at the beginning of the episode, but then it carries over into next week's episode. So this lets us know that the series is shifting away from its episodic format and trying now to get into a centralized plot structure for the series. So any of you that have been looking forward to the series getting off of the episodic routine of Little Witch Academia, it seems like that is finally being abandoned for continuous plot going on behind the scenes and also being front and center for the series. So with that being said, there's something I need to talk about, which honestly not many are really talking about, and it's kind of disappointing because it was very impressive when I watched this episode, and when I rewatched it a second time, I was even more stunned by how good it was. The voice acting of this episode was fucking marvelous. It was so freaking good. And I'm not just talking about just simple voices or whatever. I'm talking about the voice acting of Diana. Her voice acting skills needs to be praised. The voice actor of her, I don't know the exact name of the voice actress, but the voice actor needs to be praised because of how much skill it takes. See, when you saw Akko become Diana in this episode, I know many might think, oh, that's, very cliche writing, it's very pointless or whatever, just to, spark some conflict, which they might be right. However, instead of focusing on that, I think we need to focus on the beautiful voice acting of Diana. Many might not understand how good it was, so kind of let me clarify. When Akko became Diana, the voice actor of Akko at that moment became Diana. And then Diana's voice actor had to try to act like Akko. What I'm getting at is that the way Akko talks is obviously very different from Diana, the way she talks. And obviously, if you're used to voicing a certain character like Diana, and then all of a sudden you're having to voice this completely opposite character from Diana, which is Akko, that's going to be very hard to do, to swap your voice around like that. And the way the voice actor of Diana was able to kind of copy how, Akko speaks, and was able to kind of allow us to see, like, holy shit, that kind of does sound like Akko, but a very awkward Diana voice or whatever. I'm like, oh my god, that's really good. Like, that is really good to do, just to see how the voice actress of Diana was able to be that impressive with the skills of trying to act like Akko. Just well done. That really needs to be praised. More people need to praise the voice acting of Diana in this episode. That was truly good work I saw. And the entirety of the studio to the voice actors of the series need to be given credit for all the work they do for this series, because that was some solid work. That was some really solid work when it came to the voice acting of this episode. Anyways, though, the main conflict of this episode, besides Akko trying to figure out a way to not be eaten and eventually be excreted out of this creature, she tries to figure out a way she can do something else. And she has these own goals or whatever she wants to accomplish. And we know Akko, she wants to be like the next shiny chariot. She's someone that wants to be a very gifted witch. Someone that can, make people happy with magic. And throughout this episode, Diana is Akko. What I'm getting at is Akko becomes Diana, and she gets to see what type of life Diana lives. Obviously, at first, Akko doesn't realize what's going on, and she's like, and she tries to figure out, like, oh, she's fine, but then things get in over her head, and she realizes how much Diana has to go through, how her life really is, and that Diana isn't someone that was just gifted, or someone that, just seems to be good because, they can do everything. She is someone that has put a lot of time and effort to do what she is capable of at this time. She is not someone that was instantly gifted with everything, that could do everything at once. She had to put so much time and effort to accomplish what she is, and Akko being able to go into her room, see all the books that were all over her bookshelves, to see what she wrote down, what she wants to accomplish for the magic world, she realized that Diana is someone that truly does care and is someone that does take a lot of consideration into improving themselves. And so it's not just Akko, which Akko's been trying to do throughout the entirety of the series, trying to make sure that she becomes better at magic, learns different magics, and also become the next shiny chariot. She also now knows that Diana is putting just as much effort, maybe even more effort than Akko even is, since she even started trying to put effort in. And it's just very interesting when you see Akko coming to realize how Diana is as a person. Now, Akko obviously thinks Diana is very stuck up, or someone that probably thinks like she's gifted and all that. She doesn't need to think about Akko at all, like she's just a pebble on the road. And, I mean, what we've seen from Diana, it's obvious that she doesn't think like that. It's very obvious Diana is a caring and good-hearted person. Even though she does seem like she knows things and she could be somewhat of a know-it-all, it does seem like she does care about people, and she doesn't really, relish in the fact that Akko gets bullied or picked on because she's not good at magic. It doesn't seem like Diana really cares about that, like she wants to, allow Akko to constantly be picked on, and so she's not a bad person. And Akko's starting to realize this, that Diana isn't bad. She actually has to deal with a lot and also is able to accomplish so much while so many people rely on her. And so I like this episode of giving characterization and / development for Diana and Akko. It was a really good episode to kind of focus on this character and allow us to see how she is behind the scenes, behind the curtain, so to say. But besides all of that, though, I want to point out something that many might not have noticed when it came to this episode, which correlates with last week's episode. You know the mirror where Akko turned into Diana, which caused the entire conflict of this episode? Well, there was a quick scene. Very quick, easily could have missed it. I didn't notice it until I rewatched the episode again this morning after kind of trying to get over being sick from yesterday. Like, as I said on Twitter, and as I said in my video, I was kind of sick yesterday, and so I couldn't really put out any reviews, a lot of reviews at once, which is why I left, Little Witch Academia for today. But after, getting over being sick, after watching the episode, sleeping some more, and then rewatching it again to do this video, I noticed that Professor Woodward, the professor that was introduced in last week's episode, was in the mirror that turned Akko into Diana in this episode. You can look very closely. Go back to the scene, you'll see it for yourself. Professor Woodward is in the mirror. For a quick second, she's in there. And so, when you look at that scene, you're like, that explains a lot. That explains a lot why there's a lot of correlation with the theme of this episode and last week's episode. Let's look at, last week's theme. Last week's theme is for Akko realizing that she can't just obtain her, dream just like that. She needs to work hard for it, but also she doesn't want to give up anything. She doesn't want to give up something, all of her memories, to be something that she truly wants. She understands she can't be what she wants if she doesn't have the things that have made her to what she is. And so she didn't want to give that up. So she didn't want to be Shiny Chariot. She wanted to be Akko as a new Shiny Chariot. She didn't want to be just Shiny Chariot in name. And that theme also carries over into this episode. Akko wanted to find out what made her her. See, she always had these goals, expectations and stuff, maybe trying to be like Diana, be very good at magic, but she realizes sometimes the goals, she can't be like these others. She can't be like other people, and she needs to realize what she's capable of. She needs to be her own self. She can't be someone else. And the theme of this was to show that you can't be Diana. You could try to be, but you can't be. And that's kind of what Professor Woodward was trying to teach, Akko throughout this entire episode of why she was in that situation. So it correlates with last week's theme. So yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to this episode of Little Witch Academia. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.